Hello, my friends. Jacob is here one more time, and so are all of you, and I'm so happy. Welcome to Jacob's Ladder. If you're new, I'm so happy you're here. It's Epiphany time, baby. That's right. That's what today is, January 6th. It's the Epiphany.
Gates.
Donald John Trump.
Well, it's also, there's a micro wolf moon. I just did a whole live show about it. You should check it out. Not to mention all of the madness going on with the Speaker of the House. All of these things, my friends, are incredibly, incredibly prophetic, as they say, and a little bit sus, because this ties into things that happened thousands of years ago. Guess what? We also have a comet, that's right, that's been going over. That's going over right now. Last time it was here, 50,000 years ago, when the old Neanderthals were going around and huffing and puffing and, and then touching space monoliths and having aliens advance them. I'm not saying that's what the Epiphany's about now, but that would be an epiphany moment for sure. Pope Francis says it's time to get out of your comfort zone because the Magi are coming to town. The Magi. You know the Magi? They call them the three kings. They bring the frankincense, the myrrh, and the gold, and it's the gift when Christ is about to be revealed to the world. Because there's a star, a lot of things going on at the same time, leads them there. The Magi, which is where we get the word MAGA from. Interesting. Pope Francis even took a really cool picture with a bunch of people dressed as Magi. It was like a Halloween party or something. But he said, it's time to get rid of our comfort. This is like saying, maybe things are going to get a little more uncomfortable. I don't know. What do you think? Get the MAGA coming to town. At the same time, there's Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House issue. What does Matt Gaetz do? He stands up on the 7th round and says, I nominate Donald James Trump. The 7th round, number 7. Trump and his number 7s. Everything is incredibly significant, and everything is adding up. Here we have January 6th, the micro moon. It's a wolf moon. And I did the Trump wolf moon back in 2019. Donald Trump was born on a blood moon. At the same time, there was a comet going by, Comet 46P, a big comet. The same time, today, we have a comet going by. Just talked about it in the show. Check out my last live show. If you missed it, you're missing a lot, because this just makes things more interesting. The fact that here we are, Donald Trump being shouted out in the House. The 7th round, Matt Gaetz, the 7th round. 7. The number 7 follows Trump everywhere. The Donald, President Trump, was 70 years old, 7 months and 7 days. That's how old he was on the first day of office. On the 70th anniversary in Israel, Donald Trump, you know what he did? He moved the embassy to Jerusalem, fulfilling biblical prophecy, mind you. On the 2nd anniversary of his inauguration, the 2nd inauguration, there was a blood moon. That's spooky, right? Donald John Trump was born on a blood moon. What are the odds of that one happening? Guess what happened 700 days later? The state of Israel, of course. 77777. Guess how old Donald Trumpster will be if he's elected again? 77 years old. How about them apples?
dates.
Donald John Trump.
You want to hear weird? You want to hear weird? DJ Deuce sent me a little tweet and he goes, check this out. You know, on Twitter, Donald has 87,700,000 followers right now. I said it would be interesting, you know, if he came back to Twitter at 88, because that number 8, you know the number, that letter, it's the 8th letter, put the two together. And if you think of naughty, terrible, monstrous people, rhymes with Yahtzee, some people say that that 88 is very symbolic of that. January 6th. Whew, that's the day, right? Big things happening. What's going to happen with the Speaker of the House? I don't know. But I do know that many years I've been telling you he was going to lose it all, and then all of a sudden he was going to be back in power again. I did say this. I was like one of the few. Is it just me, or does this feel like this is prophecy literally playing out? From the election on, I pretty much said it. I pretty much said we're going to be biding our time and don't fall victim for all this stuff, because you get worried. You know why you get worried? Let me tell you why you get worried. Because the things that happened in the past when Christ was born in the world, I kind of, on the channel, I kind of take current events and I liken them to spiritual things. And I said that in the world, we're seeing things like the Trump census that came out back in the day. I did videos where I said, hey, the census comes out first, right before Christ is born, and then there's the slaughter of the innocents a couple of years later after the census. Innocents being people that didn't deserve to die, didn't know they were going to die, but to prevent Christ from ruling and, coming into the world, what did they do? It was an empire-wide edict. They had the census, just like we did, a couple of years later, and there's a lot of people are dying. So strange, right? You hear of all these excess deaths and you think, wow, that's interesting. Could it be that there's a slaughter of innocents going on that we're, just starting to become aware of? The good news is Christ and everything else, he fled to Egypt, so he didn't have to worry about any of this stuff. This is where the Magi come in. The Magi come and they bring the gifts for the Epiphany, which takes place today. The Magi, the MAGA, is being brought to the Speaker of the House, which is the holy site in the United States. Don't you find all of this incredibly interesting? It gets more interesting. Speaking of sevens, do you know the Epiphany? This one marks Tarpon cities, that's like in Florida. It's like they got the big Epiphany celebration there. Their 117th anniversary, 117. That's 7-Eleven backwards. Thank heaven for 7-Eleven. There's some stuff going on. The Epiphany is going down today, people. The Epiphany. You want to know what it is? You want to know the deeper meaning of it? Good news, you're in for it, because I did a whole show about it. Now you're going to watch it. That's right, not a lot of people saw it before, but now it's so significant. Think about this for a second. The Epiphany, Christ, the Magi, all of it coming down, Christ being born. The day that we're in now would literally be, if the census took place back then, it was like 3 years later. 3 years later, because the idea was, the edict was 2 years after Christ was supposedly born. Because the Magi, they went to Herod, and Herod was like, tell me about it. Tell me when he's born, because I'm interested. But really, he was going to put him down, because this beast system, this world that is ruled, is known as Babylon the Great, Egypt, all of this, it's going to be judged, because Christ right now is about to be brought to light. Because you know what happens next? Well, you got witnesses on the scene. You got John the Baptist. What's he doing? What's the witness doing? He's baptizing in the Jordan. He's baptizing in the Jordan. He's telling everybody, repent, repent, make way because the Lord's coming. The witness of God, not Christ, the guy who comes before Christ, right? John the Baptist says, he that comes after me is greater than me. Same could be said for all of us. Christ in you. When the revelation of Christ in you is revealed, you realize the old you ain't nothing. So don't worry about all this madness going on, but watch what's happening at the Speaker of the House on Epiphany Day. And when you find out the story of the Epiphany and what it really means, it's just going to blow your mind because it's all happening at the same time. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected. Find out how incredible it is, what the Epiphany is, and think about the fact that there may be a slaughter of innocents going on, just like there was a census. And I said that would be the next thing that follows. God forbid that's the case. I wish you all well. Enjoy it. Thank you, by the way, before you watch this video, thank you for taking some time to watch. And do me a favor, will you please hit the like button? When you hit that like button, when you give that little check, it helps. Make sure you're still subscribed because a lot of people I hear are not subscribed anymore. That's not cool. So make sure you're subscribed. I'm here all the time. Check out my website, jacobisrael.com. It's all free. Go to the store, get yourself some merch. I'm thinking of putting out an If They Be Corrupt 2020-23 shirt. You should tell me if you think so in the comments section or give me any other ideas, all right? I love all of you beautiful Israelites. Thank you. Now enjoy the Epiphany. Hello, my friends. Jacob is here once again. Thanks for pressing play, for spending a little time with me. It's an aha moment. That's what an epiphany is, often used when you come upon some great deep understanding. Your whole life you've missed it, and then the lights go on and you understand. Revelation, an epiphany. It's the moment in a story when a character realizes something that changes everything. And yet, when I look up the definition of epiphany in Google, I just type in epiphany, what does it mean? It tells me that it is the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles as represented by the Magi. It's interesting. Epiphany 2020. Had a couple of people asking me if I was going to do a show about this. I didn't know, so I didn't answer. And now I know, so I'm doing it. Thank you for asking. Epiphany 2020. This is a very big Catholic holiday. Some people call it the 12th night of Christmas. It's to celebrate when the Magi come and finally, give their gifts onto Christ, newborn Christ. Yet, ironically, this is news to me. I don't know if it's a Mandela effect or something else. I know the story very well of the Magi, the wise men, otherwise known as sorcerers or astrologers. These three wise men, these three Magi, would come from the Greek word magus, I believe it is, which could be a false prophet as well. But they come to, they're following this star, this great star that came in the heavens, and it marked this sign. Like the Revelation 12 sign, September 23rd of 2017, that we all went crazy about, right? We're all looking for that sign, that star that led them, King Herod, who, of course, when he heard the story of the prophecy, he wasn't too thrilled about that. And he's like, oh, yeah. He told the wise men, when you find them, when you find this child, this soon-to-be king of Israel, you let me know so I can come and worship him too. The Magi, when they're on their way to find baby Yahshua, baby Jesus, baby Christ, they understood. They had like a dream, a vision, that it wasn't in their best interest to share these things with Herod. And so began the slaughter of the innocents. But this Epiphany 2020 it's celebrated today, of all things, right? Tuesday show. Today's the Epiphany, January 6th. It's also known by other names, El Dia de los Reyes Magos and Three Kings Day. The January 6th holiday celebrates the three kings who gave gifts, which were, by the way, symbolic of a couple of things: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Myrrh, which is used for embalming; frankincense, which is used in Scripture as a sweet savor. It's as an incense. It's and of course gold, symbol of divinity. Now, while many say that the three Magi were laying down gifts that were symbolic of Christ, gold symbolic of his kingship, frankincense symbolic of his deity, and myrrh, of course, as his sacrificial death, I would like to lay down a different idea, that these three Magi were offering everything they could. They were giving their life to Christ. Gold is symbolic of the heart. Gold is tested in the furnace as God tests our heart. Frankincense, we're giving our thoughts to the Lord. And myrrh, we're laying down our lives for the life of Christ. So they give gifts as a way to celebrate baby Jesus. It's kind of like the Christmas thing. Okay, so this is going down today. A lot of stuff's going down today. A lot of people want me to talk about other things, scary things. You know what I'm talking about. All these things. I want to come on here and I want to say, don't worry. I want to say, this is going to happen. The terrible fires that are going on in Australia. What about a great storm coming up, Lord? What about that? What about something that brings the fires to an end? What about something comes and brings an end to all this nonsense that we're hearing in the Middle East? What if an epiphany happens, an aha moment happens? I think, big things are on the horizon. But the biggest and the most important, of course, is finding Christ, finding the truth of God, finding this. And a star leads them to this epiphany, this realization, this manifestation of Christ in you, the hope of glory. That's what it would be. And God is going to do what God is going to do. And who is anyone to say what's going to come next? But I do know that as Abraham prayed on behalf of his nephew Lot, who was at the outskirts of Sodom and Gomorrah, and prayed, said, will you spare Sodom and Gomorrah if there were 50? And God's like, okay. And then Abraham's like, well, what about 25? And God's like, all right, what about 10? And God's like, okay. And he goes into this negotiating with God, but at some point he gives up. And I've talked about this before. I'm like, all right, Lord, you know what? What if you got one faithful person in the world today that loves you so much, wants your power to be known in the world so much that, would you spare it? Would you spare that bad word, that 3-letter word that starts with a W? I don't want to get hit with an algorithm. Would you spare us from all that? No one knows what's coming, but I do know that a lot of people are going to be celebrating today the Epiphany. And there are weeks that follow the Epiphany, that follow the manifestation of Christ. One of the first couple of weeks, he turns a couple of loaves of bread and fish into being able to feed 5,000. Another Epiphany week sees him healing all sorts of suffering and diseases and pain. Another Epiphany week they celebrate he's walking on the water through the storm. Another Epiphany week shows him daring in his hometown, telling everybody, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and therefore he has anointed me to do all these wonderful things, to set people free, to give sight to those, to help those who are healing, and to preach the acceptable day of the Lord, the right day of the Lord, the truth, the true revelation, the true epiphany, which I would like to share with all of you. The last of all the epiphanies, of course, there's another that shows not just the great power of God, but the suffering and the sacrifice and the humility. And of course, the death that follows. But after that, there is a great resurrection. We are at a moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, where the power of God is going to move in a mighty, amazing, remarkable way. I am not here to get you all scared about what is to come. I am not here to do anything but to let you know that the only reason I'm here is because God has allowed it. And the only thing that I think is important, the only reason why I'm here is to get each and every one of you to ask for the truth. Just ask for it. Just ask for it. No matter what the cost, just ask. Don't go to your pastor, don't go to your rabbi, don't go to your imam. Go if you want to go, but don't take their word for it. Don't take Jacob's word for it. You want to come to Jacob's well and you can drink, guess what? You're going to get thirsty again. You can come here when you're feeling down and I hope you come all the time and subscribe and everything else, but you don't need to come here. The Lord is going to, will create in you rivers of flowing water, truth, understanding. And once you have that understanding, once you have that epiphany, it won't matter if the call has gone out to smite down every child under the age of 2, which is what Herod was after once he worried about the new king that was coming. Symbolically, just so you know, that's very, very clear to me, that a lot of people are going to come to the knowledge of the truth. A lot of people are going to start to wake up. But guess what's going to happen? Religion and this world system is going to work very, very hard to put it to death. So don't let it. Just remember, with God for you, who can be against you? With God, nothing is impossible. With faith, nothing shall be impossible. Ask God for an increase of faith, will you? If you're going through a hard time now, know that I love you, and I hope things get better, and I know God can make things better, and that your hard time that you're in right now is there to make you stronger. I love that t-shirt when I'm at the gym that says, pain is weakness leaving the body, because that is so, so true. Because just like our struggles in life, guess what they make us do? They make us strong. In the day we're in, we need strong leaders just like you. We need people just like you to forgive, to love, to not believe everything they're told, and to seek the truth no matter what the cost. The epiphany is waiting. You got your gifts? I certainly do. And I love each and every one of you. Please do subscribe, share it around, tell your friends. And I'm going to try not to be like the other channels and get you all frightened, all scared. But I will say, we're about halfway through that 7-year eclipse. About halfway through. Did say things were going to ramp up right about now. And I also did say that those that are seeking God, life is not going to be that hard for them. It'll be hard, but my goodness gracious, with God for us, who can be against us? If you're seeking the truth and you have that faith, it doesn't matter what's going on in the, where. It doesn't matter if they're raising the flag, declaring this, or if they're saying that. Doesn't matter, because God will not forsake you and will never leave you, and God loves you. And everything's working together for our good. I love each and every one of you. I hope you do subscribe, share it around, tell your friends, and have the best day ever. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.